Great. Thank you, everybody, for coming today. I know you're very busy. We'll try to get you out of here as soon as possible and a clear understanding of how this assessment system actually works. What I want to do is very quickly, I want to go over the structural overview of the assessment system so you understand from the inputs to the outputs exactly how the whole system works. Okay. Also, I want to make it very clear that at the end of this session, everybody should be able to complete their course learning outcomes. All right, so all faculty who are teaching this semester and next semester are responsible for completing course learning outcomes. The program learning outcomes are the responsibility of the department heads, and the institutional learning outcomes, which have been completed, has been done by the administration. Now, to put a more human element into this processing sequence, okay, this system is only as good as the input. Okay, like every computer system, the processing unit, okay, our outputs, or which would be our assessment reports, are only as good as what the faculty, department heads, and students put into the system. So if the faculty and students and department heads are not on board or are not together on this assessment system, our outputs and effective assessment will not be possible. Okay? So it is very crucial, especially faculty members, that we get the data from our students so we can properly evaluate our student outcome. Okay? So our three inputs, or human element to it, our students, department heads, and faculty are responsible for inputting into the system. For now, all that information will go through the institutional research department, okay? And we will put that into the system for the administration. Now, very simply, how does this assessment system work? We're quantifying data. Okay? We're taking your general rubric of little to no knowledge, basic knowledge, general, firm to expert, and we're putting it into numbers. Okay? Now, inputs. Okay? We need artifacts. Now we're going to break it down into 3 artifacts. Okay, artifacts can be anything from presentations, tests, papers. Also, there will be an overall classroom observation that will need to be assessed. Now the artifacts, what we're looking for is we need proof to a third party that we are addressing certain criteria in our course learning outcomes. So when you're looking for artifacts, so for example, you take a paper, a 2,000-page paper. If you're assessing knowledge, 2,000 words, I'm sorry, 2,000-word paper, okay, and you're assessing knowledge, you have to tell the system that this paper is assessing this particular criteria. Okay, so one, artifacts, you need to prove to a third party that you are assessing directly a criteria. Okay. Once you get these presentations, they'll be submitted for assessment by the faculty. That information will be inputted into the database, and then that will be extracted for evaluation. Now, linear. I put this on. When you are creating your course learning outcomes, it is important that people are consistent when interpreting criteria. For example, knowledge. Our understanding of knowledge within the business department, the language or the literature needs to be consistent. Otherwise, if one professor is interpreting different than another professor, okay, we're not able to extract the proper data. Okay, is there any questions on this? Now, we're not telling you that it has to be exactly the same, but we ask you that it is consistent when you are writing your course learning outcomes. And you will see that when you look at the institutional learning outcomes and the program learning outcomes, the language is very similar. Okay? So we ask you to try to be consistent when you're drawing into your course learning outcomes. So the language, maybe the first 3 words, might be similar in the institutional, program, and course learning outcomes. Okay. Another structural overview. This is a very important part, so please pay close attention. Now, all the courses, now we're just talking about core courses here. It's very difficult to really, track where the student's going to go with their electives. So all the core courses combined, okay, the course learning outcomes must address all program goals. Okay, so this is important. Not one individual course will address all program goals. Okay, so when you're aligning your course learning outcomes with your program learning outcomes, understand that your individual course is not going to address all the program goals, which is fine. It's all of the courses combined should address all the program goals, and the program as a whole must reach all institutional goals. Okay? Is everybody clear on this aspect? Okay, and of course, if we do not cover program institutional goals, there's a gap within the program. Okay, so this assessment system will help us pinpoint are our programs reaching our institutional goals. Okay, so WASP perspective, I don't need to go through this again. Dean Howe has already addressed this. Okay, now faculty engagement, this is your responsibility. I hope everybody brought their syllabus, hopefully. Okay, if you understand how this works, your course learning outcomes do not necessarily have to change if your syllabus is the same. Okay, so if you're thinking, do I have to redo this every semester? That's not true. Now, if you want to change certain assignments, that's fine. Okay, you can still link those assignments to the course learning outcomes that you made the prior or the semester before. So for here, you need to complete student learning or student course learning outcomes, templates for each course you are teaching this semester.